Sunday, film day was the part that we've learned is that you got to take the good and the bad and try to correct as much as you can. When you have a defeat like that, it's a tough environment, but I thought our guys handled it really well. I did point out several positive things. We did enough things, offense, defense, special teams, to give us a chance to win, but in the end fell short. But I did, to stay positive, to get ourselves going into this week, thought we tried to capitalize on that moment. The kids were really, really positive, turned the page and jumped into our Missouri preparation. From an injury standpoint, obviously in that game there was a lot of guys that went down during the course of it. Nothing that should knock somebody out of this game. Yelda was injured the week before, tried to go, couldn't go, but it was close. So we think he'll be there. Should have limited action today. Then tomorrow is going to be a big practice for us. It'll be like a Wednesday of a normal game week. So Yelda and Zach will be back with us, and they'll be a little bit today, but today's only a 12 period in the evening. We usually have Mondays off, so just to get the scheduled practice in today was a little bit of an issue. We'll have guys with some class conflicts. Davion Warren is going through concussion protocol. No guarantees that he'll be back, but every indication he keeps passing hurdles each day. We're only 2 days removed from it, so with the expectation to get him back out there as well. Other than that, Cole Kelly joined us as well. Last time he was with us, he was still a little bit banged up from the foot, obviously, so haven't seen him practice in over a week, but Matt Summers, our trainer, has been upbeat about the progress he made last week. We didn't really push the envelope with him because he wasn't practicing, so he just got rehab, stayed off it, which was probably the best thing for it. He'll be back again, like I said, full go with us tonight. So really all that, other than that, we're putting all of our preparation into the Missouri, the short week, and opportunity to play in a Battle Line Trophy, an opportunity for our seniors. We've got a good group of guys that have accomplished a lot of good things academically, athletically, socially. They've been very proud to be around them, the resiliency they've had, and would love to give them an opportunity to go out a winner on on Friday. In addition to that, there's still a lot of things out there in addition to the trophy game and the seniors, the expectation to end it on a positive note and give our guys an opportunity to be positive moving forward into recruiting, into the out of season, and the program in general is positive. So with that, open up for questions. Yeah, from a health standpoint, pretty good. He was banged up on that particular play, but it wasn't anything that just sore at that moment, and he was really good on Sunday. I reached out to him Saturday night afterwards, just asked him how he was doing, and the biggest hurt in him was obviously the feeling of the loss in the game and everything that he put into it and thought our guys put into it. Offensively, it was just insane in that second half. It's been well documented, but everything go. But I know we were trying to put together a game-winning drive and put certain things together. At right guard, I got my third-string right guard, who used to be a D lineman a month ago. We got our third-string center, who's played every position under the sun and doing as good a job as he can possibly do. And various guys along the lines, just. I'll give a lot of credit to those guys to get out there and try to make it as competitive as they possibly could and do the best they could, and they did it as we know fell short, but I give them a lot of credit for stepping up and trying to do what they could. Yeah, a little bit to be determined. He took a shot to the lower leg there at the end of the game, and not only a little bit of the knee, but also the ankle. So he's kind of got a double-edged sword on the same leg. So would love to get him to practice tomorrow because he has played the whole year, but we're kind of approaching it as he might be a guy that's questionable for Saturday. Yeah, I think we put out a list of guys that, but yeah, there's a couple guys, some walk-ons that have expressed, great kids in our programs. Josh Harris, for instance, a guy that's a non-scholarship player that has been a special teams player for us the last 2 or 3 years, and think the world of him. He and I had a pretty good conversation. I guess it was going back even maybe to bye week or about a month ago, and he's graduating in maybe 3.5, 4 years, and hasn't played as much as he would like, and I think is going to explore opportunities of his senior grad transfer. Jackson Hanna is another very, very respected walk-on that might jump into it. From a scholarship standpoint, really not anybody of significance. I know we we had to have a conversation with Jay Red, and don't know where that's going yet. I don't, just because he's a guy that, potentially could come back with his redshirt year, but he's kind of same situation. If you remember, Jonathan Williams, to be quite honest, was in that same predicament his senior year because he had a redshirt year left and got injured in what he thought was going to be a senior year. So the good news is I think Jay Red, well, I know he graduates in December and has all the doors of opportunity in front of him.
Did you see Austin's comments? Basically, they were wanting to win that game for you. They were playing for you guys. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it got back to me. I love my guys. They're awesome. So it is what it is. Probably when he's rolling and what they've been able to do this year, the last 5 games in particular. And it's not just him. They've got a very talented group of wide receivers. They got a couple running backs now that have excelled very, very well. Have stayed pretty consistent up front. So they've had the same depth and a certain lot of guys making plays. And you can just see how it affects their whole team. He plays well. Their offense plays well. They score points. Their defense has noticeably changed. Just their overall demeanor and attitude and swag out on the field is impressive. But as a quarterback himself, he throws the ball very, very accurately. I think he's very conscientious with the football, doesn't put it in bad situations, and he trusts those wide receivers in a big way. Mm-hmm.
What's your take on how well they're playing?
Yeah, I would say again the last 5 games take advantage of the moment. They've been able to flip the switch. It doesn't matter who they're playing. They've taken advantage of key moments. They've exercised their game plan. I have a lot of respect for Barry. I've known him for a while, and he got him playing at a high level in a short amount of time after some setbacks. So give him credit.
I guess they were 1-5 in the vultures or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Were out, and he was able to rally the troops. What do you think about that?
He was an internal candidate. I remember when Coach Pinkel stepped down. Obviously, his last game was here, and if I'm not mistaken, they had 5 wins that year and had a chance to go to maybe a 5-win bowl opportunity. And they named Barry as a successor. And the season, the way it unfolded last year, the rally they had against us in the second half, and just watching from afar, you're aware of what's going on because it's your competition. We recruit against Missouri quite a bit. Again, he just stayed the course, and they stayed the course with him, and good things happen. It is. I guess I always tell the players when I first got here. I always used to talk to our players about you got to care enough to cry. All right. So a lot of times, people want to jab me when things aren't going right. And Bielema's going to cry. All right. I like people. I like our players. I want them to have success. There's nothing wrong with that.
You said last week that you felt they really channeled away from the outside noise. You feel that's a factor?
They did, Nate. And again, I know it's hard for people to believe this, but it really, really is easier probably when you're in this room not to surround yourself with it. Our players, with the news broke about Jeff, again, it's something they consume and they eat it, but they get by it pretty quickly. I always say this, and as a head coach, and I think as an assistant coach, you realize that when you're 18 to 22 years old, you just got so much going on in your life that something that dwells on an older person or someone that's in the moment, it just lasts so much shorter. Its lifespan with a young mind is so much quicker, and they don't dwell on it. And as we as coaches don't dwell on it, it's there. I've made reference, gave them a story yesterday about being able to focus on what they're building right now, even though that isn't maybe in sight of what they want it to be, that it's there. They're building it every day, and it hopefully resonates with them. And I expect them to go out and have a really good practice today. I really do. I think they'll come out and participate, and we'll get to Friday, and it looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day, and we'll process that day as it happens.
Austin was one of the first guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so those 3 Fayetteville kids were committed, and if you think about those 3 kids, all 3 different stories. Alex Brignoni, Brooks Ellis, and Austin Allen came over to my office. All 3 were already committed before I got here, so it was really the first face-to-face visit I had with recruits, and had seen him on film. I'd actually processed Austin's film back when I was at Wisco. He was a guy that we evaluated, and to be able to just see him for the first time, and they're with their buddies, and I don't know if those guys, I know they remember the day. Brooksy talks about it all the time, but Alex really never had much of a football career here, but he took advantage of it academically and was always around practice, got him involved as a youth coach. Obviously, Brooksy was out of here in 4 years, did a lot of really good things. And Austin, I know, had big dreams and goals and aspirations going in this year, and unfortunately, sometimes things just, the powers that be don't let it happen, and it wasn't from a lack of effort. Well, it wasn't from a lack of preparation. I think it's been permanently affected by his health, to be quite honest. And that all ties together. So it's overwhelming and unbelievable is the way it's kind of happened for us this year in that department. But it is what it is. You just want to survive in advance.
What emotion do you think Saturday will be for you and Frank?
Saturday shouldn't be that hard. Friday, you mean?
Just you and Frank and the
Yeah.
fact that you got the film.
Well, Frank and I have probably already had our moment. He's a guy that I'd once it was determined he wasn't going to play anymore. It was tough, but I went by the other day and he's wheeling out on the field, and I looked inside his little basket and he had hydration, and I was commenting on what he was carrying around in a scooter. He's got a little toe fungus he's trying to take care of, and I was giving him some heat about that. He's just incredible kid to be around. I've had several scouts tell me that not only is he rated as probably the #1 center, but maybe one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. So just to stay focused with him, I know his family's here, his mom's here, got here Friday. They're spending the whole week with him, with his family. I think the rest of them get in on Wednesday, and his career is just in a whole nother conversation. Friday will be difficult. It will be difficult. Senior day, I tell the kids during recruiting, I actually talk about senior day when I'm recruiting a player. And I always tell them, I want senior day to be emotional for all the right reasons. I don't want it to be because it's been miserable and you can't wait to get out of here. I want it to be great, and that you accomplished your goal of getting a degree. You chase the dreams of being great on the field, and how you set yourself up for whatever life's opportunity is. And I have so many parents reference that moment on senior day. We bring them over. Mark Torresani and our operations staff and administration has always let us, we kind of changed that when we first came here. We made senior day a big deal for the family. Guys get to bring their family on the field. We have a meeting with the seniors, and we say, hey, whoever's in this photo, this is going to be a photo that lasts a lifetime. We put a photo, we put it on a football form, and we give it to them at their senior banquet. And it's obviously you're going to have your family in there, but sometimes you have maybe friends or girlfriends that are really cool right now, but 10 years from now it may not be so cool. So you got to kind of give them life lessons along the way. That's what's making it easy for me. I get the question. I'm really just focusing on that. My personal story is the choices I made to come here, the choices I've made since I've been here, and what I know we've been able to accomplish and where I know we can go. Because recruiting is right around the corner, I want to be in a home, scheduled to be on a home as early as Sunday, and that's what my intention is doing. And if things change, that's obviously something I got to deal with. But that's been my task. We had a great recruiting weekend this past weekend. Kids had a great environment. They really enjoyed their time, which tells me where we're going. I had our staff put together some information, like 75 to 80% of our offensive production, yardage, scoring is everything from first and second year players. Our roster is just filled with sophomores and freshmen, juniors that'll be back for senior year, and have a good plan for us in defensive recruiting as we move forward. So my goal is to put our best performance on Friday, hopefully try to get ourselves a victory. Saturday, kind of regroup during the morning, hop on a plane and get recruiting on Saturday night, Sunday morning, and move forward.
Is that presentation something you can give Julie, or do you anticipate doing that?
I've definitely given it to Julie, yeah, absolutely. But just because she's the person in charge. Julie's been our administrator here at football for, I believe, 2 years now, over 2 years. So she's routinely been at practice, been involved in discussions. Mark Torresani is our DFO, but he's also assistant athletic director. That Jeff moved into that role a couple years back. So that's been my communication link over the last several years since she came here. So even though she was appointed and obviously named that interim athletic director, the role that she's had with us hasn't changed at all. She's just got a bigger hat to wear now with everything else going on.
What's your anticipation for Cole this week? Do you think he'll go on and play?
Cole is just I thought the definition of Cole happened Saturday. I didn't know if he was going to be in the game. Obviously, we didn't. When we suspend a player, we don't allow him to be on the sideline. But they get 4 tickets by NCAA rules, and I always say, hey, if you want to use one of your 4 tickets, you want to be at the game, knock yourself out. And I think somebody in here asked me after the game, maybe it was you, or somebody asked me about Cole being at the game, and I didn't know if he was going to be at the game. You know, I think all the time, like, how is a player going to respond? And that probably showed me the love that he had for his guys, that even though he was going, he could not go to that stadium and know that someone wasn't going to take a shot at him. He could have easily just stayed home in his apartment or watched the game on TV or done. He went to the stadium to support his brothers. I think that's awesome.
What have your conversations been like with him since the game?
Saturday, he shot me a message, Coach, with my back end, because I told him we'd visit on Sunday. What time can we meet? And I said, hey, let me check on a few things, because I set up some parameters that he had to meet that I, just going in the game, I hadn't checked on yet. So I waited till Sunday morning. I said, I'll let you know. And then Sunday I shot him a message, and we had kind of a delayed day on Sunday because I wanted to give our guys a chance to put the Mississippi State game, our coaches behind it, but I also wanted to do some Missouri prep before. So we pushed back everything later on Sunday, and I told him he's full go involved with Sunday lift and treatments and meetings, and he was very positive from there. I saw him briefly walking in the meeting, and then I'll see him out there at practice today.
Do you feel good that he's learned his lesson in a good place?
You know, in conversations with him, in conversations with his mother, in conversations he's had with other people, he's reached out to a couple different people that I think may have given him an awakening to the scale that he's on. You know, I shared with him, you know, sometimes the greatest blessings in this world are awesome, but they come with the biggest burdens as well. And when he stepped into that role and started a few games for the Arkansas Razorbacks, his notoriety and his exposure to the general public and what that means increased by, you know, hundreds of times, 100 times stronger than it was before. So hopefully I gave him a small sampling of what it is. With that direct issue with DUI, I think it really did have a huge effect on him, about not just the effect that he could have on his own personal well-being, but also anytime you have that type of situation, what it could mean to others. So I think it was a good eye-opener, 100%.
Yeah, what do you just think about that? And it's not a high percentage completions they hit.
But the number of exposures they're going to, you know, give us on Saturday, I'm sure is probably going to even increase just because of our personal history. So we have to have a plan there defensively. And, you know, don't want to give around game plans, but I know Paul's definitely taking into consideration those issues at our defensive staff as well. In addition to that, I think anytime that you can, you know, you'll bring some pressure, bring some heat, and apply pressure both mentally and physically is a good thing. And I think our guys will be excited to play this. It's a team, when you're looking at it defensively, when you're getting ready to play against it. I think offensively, the defensive guys should get fired up and excited about the opportunity.
Brett, speaking of personal history, is it just looking forward, or you go back and look at that game, how things played out last year? That is a motivation.
Absolutely, I think for sure. You know, standard SEC procedure, you have so many common opponents that, and even though they're the East, they're a crossover game. So not only, you know, last year, but the year before, we'll take all those things in, consider X's and O's. But you know, I did mention to those guys on Sunday night, obviously, that the ability that we showed in the first half a year ago versus the second half, and some of the ramifications to this day from that day, we can't ignore, and you got to own them. So it'll be there, and some of the personnel that played against us last year is still there, and we got to take note of that as well.
Obviously, Missouri has started to recruit a lot here. How much time do you have spent in Missouri? I know it's focusing on basketball, but it seems like it's got more football.
100%. You know, Dan does that a little bit, but because of proximity, we have several guys in that area. I think it's an area that our general student body comes here anyways, you know, so. And I know before I came here, there were some players, especially from the St. Louis area, that had been good here. So it's an area that we try to hit, kind of consider it similar to what, at least the St. Louis area, kind of similar to a Dallas, or, you know, it's close enough, it's drivable. Let's get in there and immerse ourselves. That's really hasn't changed. It was one of the common areas when I came down here. You know, I'd recruited St. Louis before at my prior institution, so it was one area that was unique, that there was carryover from contacts from my previous job to where we are today.
Have you considered at all the idea you might not be back next year?
Have I considered it, or has it run through my mind? there's just little moments, that you realize those things. I know that none of it is regret, none of it is remorse, none of it is second guessing. It's just I have so much faith in what we've built and what could be here, and especially there's already going to be so much transition in our league, which I think is a positive to stay constant. All the things we've done off the field, I know we want more wins. I want more wins. The wins will come. I think a lot about teams that were in the same situation a year ago. That I have one of my closest friends in the Big Ten Conference is Mark D'Antonio, what they've done now with their program, what Mississippi State has done, what Notre Dame did, all these teams that had a dip down year, and now I didn't have the prior success, I get it, but what we took over, what we built, and what's coming back is a very exciting time.